and welcome to the beautiful small town of Robe, South Australia, where today I wanted to give myself a little photography challenge. You see, for the past 6 weeks I've been traveling around Australia, and every little town that I go to, I want to buy a postcard to send home to my grandparents. Oh, so sweet, you now know that I have grandparents. The problem is that most of the postcards I see just aren't my style. They all look like they were taken in 1964, which is probably great for my grandparents, but not so much for me. So today I wanted to give myself the challenge of recreating some postcards that I found. Yesterday I went to the local information centre and picked up these 3 postcards, which I really liked, but I just wanted to change up the style because, as you can see, they're not really my style of photography. Now, in no way am I saying that we should copy other photographers, but I do think this is a really good idea for starting photographers to overcome the idea of a blank page. You see, so often it can feel hard to get inspiration, to get yourself out and going, so sometimes you've just got to look to other people's work as inspiration to get out there and get creating. Once you start though, you'll build upon it and create your own ideas. Sometimes action has to precede motivation. So that's exactly what I'm doing today. I'm using these postcards as inspiration to hopefully go out and take my own photos at these beautiful locations. The first one I've got to find is this rock. Let's see what it looks like in real life. Okay, I've made it to the rock in question. You may be able to see it back out there off the shoreline. This is kind of the perspective that the other photo was taken from. Let's throw it back up on the screen so you guys are reminded of what it looks like. This is kind of the perspective that it was taken from. I'm obviously going to have to zoom in a little bit. I don't have a surfer on the rocks, so we're not going to be able to incorporate that part of it, but I'm just going to try to line up this angle. I think there are a lot of people, or I know a lot of people, who get really annoyed by sharing work around or sharing how they took photos. Jeez, I'm just getting splashed on here by the ocean. Excuse that. I think there's a big part of the community that still gatekeeps how they took photos, and they think that by giving away the exact settings that they used or their locations is going to impact their photography or their ability to earn income through photography. And I just don't think that's true. I think an image is only what you captured on that specific day. No one else can take a photo that you've taken because no one else was there on the day that you took that photo. No one else uses the gear that you used. No one else has the skills that you have. So for me, giving away information about how I take photos or educating other people to do the same thing is not going to take away from what I do. No one chooses me as a photographer because of my technical skill or the fact that I was able to recreate a separate photo. They choose me because of my portfolio, my years of experience, my personality, how well I was able to interact with them, and a bit of luck comes into it as well. You had to be at that location at the right hour of the day in the right conditions. Right now it's starting to rain on me and it's starting to spray back off the ocean. There's clouds coming in. I'm never going to be able to replicate that photo that I saw in the postcard, but I'm going to give it my best shot, and through doing that I'm practicing my skills as a photographer. So I will learn to grow my style, and out of that, hopefully in the years to come, I may be able to sell images like that. So that's just my 2 cents on it, but let's get back to taking the photo. In order to try to replicate this photo, I'm going to use my 85mm lens because it looks like it's fairly compressed, zoomed right in. I'm shooting on my Nikon Z6 III today, the 85mm lens. I'm going to try to get right in there. It looks like a pretty low aperture. Most things are in focus, so I'm going to be shooting at about f5, high shutter speed as well, because you can tell that the water in the original photo was pretty tack sharp, and that person that was walking was pretty sharp as well. So high shutter speed at about f5. I'm going to try to see what I can get. The sun is starting to pop through. I'm still getting a lot of spray on the lens. Hopefully it's okay. And then I'm going to just go down and see what I can create there. It's high tide at the moment as well, so I'm not going to get most of that rock in the foreground, but let's see what this angle brings. But I think I can go to a couple of other locations afterwards and get some better angles. I just moved up the hill slightly to give me a better perspective. I thought that matched a little bit closer. The shots still aren't perfect, but here's the ones that I captured. It's hard because it's backlit at the moment as well. The sun's not coming from the same angle as the original shots. Again, you're never going to be able to recreate the photo. Just using it as inspiration is always good enough. While I'm here in this car park, I thought that I would use the drone to try to get the second photo. Let's remind everyone what that looked like. It's an aerial shot, so put the drone up to try to find a nice perspective. The clouds have moved over a little bit, so It's not going to be exactly the same, but hopefully we can get something similar. I'm really not the best drone pilot out there. I don't really use my drone that much to take photos or to do video. I really should use it more, to be honest with you. You know, I bought it a couple of years back because I really wanted to do more aerial photography. I really like the way it looks, but to me, it's harder to control. I often can't use it in a lot of places. I find it really frustrating that I can't just pull my camera out and use it. There's so much time involved in actually getting it set up. So here today, trying to use it to my best, but let's not have super high hopes on what this could be. It's really cloudy out at the moment, so it's hard with clouds moving over, especially sparse clouds like this. When you're doing aerial shots, there's like bright patches on the ground and dark patches from where the clouds are, from where it's blocking the sun. So you'll probably see that in the shots here. I'll try to record a bit of stuff so you can see overlaid. Surely I'm having something on the screen by now in the edit that you've already seen what it looks like, but this is what we're dealing with. Looks quite cool. That's kind of a similar location to what is in the postcard. So I'm going to go with a couple of shots here and see what we can get. That's kind of the same framing. I'm just really trying to wait for my right moment here when the clouds have moved and it's brighter on the areas that I want. I'm not getting that as much blue in the water that I would hope for out of drone photography like this because of those clouds. And if I overexpose, other parts of the area the image are going to become too bright, so I can't go too much. Use the auto exposure bracketing on the drone as well to try to give me more of a HDR look, because it's kind of what I'm going for here, to give me a lot of detail still in the shadows, but there's only so much you can do with this type of shot. In the original postcard, it's overexposed the sky. The sky's blown out, so it's a really bright day. I'm in the sun here right now, but over there by the marina where it's kind of taking photos of is still quite cloudy. Just hang on a few more minutes until we get. There we go. I've got something that looks pretty similar. I still don't actually think that that's the best framing of the town. Surely if we could take an aerial shot, there'd be something nicer than that, but that's what I'm trying to emulate. So hopefully I did it well. I now want to go and take some other photos that I think would be nice around while I've got the drone up. Once I've taken the effort of actually getting it out, I think that it'd be nice to get it out and actually fly it around. So let's go and try and find some other frames that could be cool. I would say that was pretty successful. I got some really nice photos, ones that I'm really happy with there, and some pretty cool video as well. But now we are on to the final location. You may have seen it in a couple of those videos. We're headed to the obelisk. It was in that last postcard. We're going to try and take a really nice photo of it. Alrighty, so I'm on my way down to the obelisk, which is that big structure you can see in the final postcard. I'll throw it up right here for you now. As far as I can tell, this is the main attraction of the town. It's like a really old structure statue on the edge of the cliff. I'm surprised that this was like the only postcard I could find with this on it. It's on all the magazines and all the brochures, but this was the only postcard I could find, and to be honest, it's not the best photo I've ever seen. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that. Like, the postcard was only $1. I'm sure no artist wants to sell their work for $1. I don't know how much they get from that, or if other people actually want to sell artworks that they're trying to sell and have them on postcards. I'm sure there's so much more that goes into that, but I'm going to try and take my version of that photo. So in a really strange turn of events, I can't get to the location where that photo was taken. There's the obelisk back there, but there's a whole big fence around it and a big keep out sign. It's being protected because apparently the cliff face is continually falling away, so they don't want people walking out on the edge and disturbing the cliff face. So I can't get to the shot, which again proves why the original photo is so special, because it was obviously taken before all this fence went up. So they have a special moment in time captured it doesn't matter if you try to recreate it, you can't now. So that was so special that that person was there on that day and took that photo. So it doesn't matter what I do, I'm never going to be able to recreate it. But let's use it as inspiration. I'm just enjoying trying to see what I can get out of here today. The obelisk is still there, which is very nice. I'm going to try to take a photo of it. Might have to go through the fence actually to try to get it out of the way. I can't really shoot back here and have the fence in the front. As much as I would love to remove it in something like Photoshop, that'd just be annoying and it wouldn't be the original photo. So I want to try to take it through the fence maybe, and we'll see what we can get. I'm up against the fence here, trying to shoot through the fence. I switched over to my 35mm lens because it's got a smaller lens diameter, so I can kind of get between the bars on the fence here. And I'm just shooting landscape there with the obelisk in the back. Still got that sun behind. I'm still aiming in that same direction as the original photo that I took out towards the sea. And so it's not the best hour of the day again, but just trying to make do with what I can here, shooting through the fence. I'm not going to do a really long exposure here. I'm still shooting pretty fast. Haven't got an ND filter on because there's not much happening in the foreground. I want that to be pretty sharp. I'm at f8, trying to get everything in focus, but still hard shooting backlit. I may put a circular polarizer on to maybe darken down the sky a little bit. We'll see how that looks. Well, here are the shots that I got. Let me know what you think of them in comparison to the original. They're not the best photos ever. I couldn't get the exact location. I couldn't get a nice vantage point that I wanted, so they'll just have to do. Well guys, that is the end of this challenge. Let me throw up the original postcards on the screen for you now. And here are my replicas. Here's my versions of them. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll throw some of my other photos up on the screen at the end of this video so you guys can have a look. I think this was a fun little challenge, and sometimes action needs to precede motivation. You're not always motivated to get out and go take photos. You don't always have the inspiration to go and take photos, but sometimes using other people as inspiration is a really good place to start. And once you're out there, it's so addicting. We all know as photographers that you just can't stop taking photos. I've got to go home because I've been out here for like 3 hours now taking photos, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to put out more videos like this. Let me know what you thought of this style of video as well. Just trying to switch up what I do. I've really got no idea, but the only way to work out what you like is to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. But again, I will see you on another one probably sometime soon. Who knows what that will be about. Just enjoying doing photography here on this channel.